Hello everyone, welcome to biology class. Here we are with the next part of the chapter number 5, human body excretory system. Here we'll begin this video with the next topic, formation of urine. In the previous video we have covered the structure of kidney and how the blood supply is ensured in the kidney. Various arteries and veins are participating there. Now we'll see the formation of urine, how it is done. So the process of urine formation in the kidney, it includes the following basic processes. What are those basic processes? First one is glomerular filtration. This is the number one step, followed by the second one, tubular reabsorption, and third one, that is tubular secretion, and the fourth one, that is itself excretion, removing of the waste product. So these are the four steps, one by one in sequence they are done for the formation of the urine in the kidneys. We'll see one by one all of these in details. The first one being glomerular filtration. It occurs in the glomerulus in the kidneys, which receives the impure blood through different arteries or arterioles of the renal artery. So as the blood enters the glomerulus, this impure blood is entering there, and now this blood which is entering into the glomerulus, it is containing mainly water and dissolved salts, urea, uric acid, glucose. All these substances are present in that blood, that is impure blood. Now the kidney has to function to separate this thing from the blood and make it pure, purify the blood. So how it will be done? The narrowing of the blood capillaries causes an increase in the pressure of on the blood, due to which water and insoluble molecules present in the blood get filtered out into the cavities of the Bowman's capsule. So that is the Bowman's capsule. We will come to the diagram quickly now for understanding this. So this is how it is entering. You can see the red color line. This is actually artery, that is the renal artery. So through the renal artery only the blood, that is impure blood, is entering here. All the impure blood is entering into the kidney from here, and where it is moving, you can see this is a cup shaped structure. This cup shaped structure, actually it is called as glomerulus or the Bowman's capsule. Cup shaped structure is named as, this is called as Bowman's, this is Bowman's capsule. Followed by that, inside this, what is there? Different arteries are there or arterioles are there. That a network of arterioles are there. So all of these combined together, what will be the name given? Altogether the name is called as glomerulus. This is altogether called as glomerulus. This glomerulus is having the glomerular filtrate, and the filtration is going on. And how this filtration is going on? Just now we have read that line, that is there is narrowing of the blood capillaries. The blood capillaries will become narrow, means the space provided for the flow of the blood will be decreased. As a result of this narrowing of the blood capillaries, there will be increase in the pressure of the blood pressure. The flow of the pressure or flow of the blood will increase. The pressure of the flow of this blood will increase. As a result of this increase in the blood pressure, the water, extra water, not all, extra water and the insoluble molecules which are in the blood, they will be filtered outside. Why it is happening? Why the filtration is happening? Due to the change in the increase in the pressure of the blood. And why this pressure is changing? Because of the narrowing of the blood capillaries. All this is resulting in the blood getting filtered out into the cavities of the Bowman's capsule. After this, the second step. The second step, you observe this diagram. First part, that is glomerular filtration. It has happened in this part. I made a circle there in this diagram. This is where in the Bowman's capsule or the glomerulus, and here only this filtration is going on. After the filtration, you can see these arrows are shown here, blue color arrows. What is this? This is the water and the minerals that are absorbed from the blood. Now all this water and mineral will flow in this tube-like structure. I'm showing with green color. In this tube-like structure only, in this tube, this extra water, all the insoluble salts, urea and all, uric acid and all, will move in this. In the next step, now what will happen? That is called as tubular reabsorption. In the process of filtration, the first step, some of the useful substances maybe they would have come out of the blood. So now here reabsorption is done. This is tubular reabsorption. Let us read here what is written. I am underlining. Useful substances such as water and glucose are taken back into the blood. If something useful has been thrown out, it will be reabsorbed into the bloodstream back. So here you can see this arrow they are showing. It is arrow is pointing towards the blood vessel. So whatever useful substances are in the filtrate that has been obtained by the glomerular filtration, that useful substance will be again reabsorbed into the blood in this step called as tubular reabsorption. Let us read this thing. The filtrate of the glomerulus, that is of the first step, it passes through the thin wall of the Bowman's capsule and moves downward into the renal tubule. In this renal tubule, only the reabsorption of the useful substances such as glucose, amino acid, water and inorganic salt are taken. So that is all about this reabsorption. Only the useful substances will be reabsorbed back. Next step is called as tubular secretion. You can see this part here, tubular secretion. So all this part in this diagram where I am showing this U-shaped structure, this is all where reabsorption has been done. After the reabsorption, what will happen? Tubular secretion is happening. Now here, if any additional waste is present, like urea is there or any uric acid is there in the blood stream, that will also be secreted. It will also be dissolved in the urine. That is the third step. Let us read here. The remaining liquid along with some other additional waste such as urea, uric acid is passed through both the ureters and collected into the bladder. So this is just the production of the urine. Tubular secretion means urine is being produced now. It has been prepared it has been produced in the kidneys, and now it is being sent to the bladder, where it will be collected and stored until the person is urinating. Next is excretion, that is urinating itself. The urine from the kidneys reach into the bladder via the ureters, and when the urinary bladder is full, urine is passed out from the body through the urethra, at the opening of the bladder only. So this is all the different steps of the how the urine formation is done. Again, I repeat the steps names. First is glomerular filtration, second is tubular reabsorption, third is tubular secretion, followed by the last is excretion. This diagram you have to remember, and you will have to draw in the upcoming question answers. You will be informed. You have to draw this. Next one, now we will move to the composition of the urine. What this urine consists of. So the major organic constituent of the urine are urea. First and most important thing is urea is present among the organic constituent. This amount of the urea is written here 2.3 gram per liter, but it is not fixed. It may change. It depends upon the amount left after the reabsorption. It depends on person to person. Second thing after urea is creatinine, uric acid. Three things you have to learn that are the organic constituent. One is urea, second one uric acid, and the third and the last one is creatinine. All these three names you have to learn. Values you can skip what is written in the bracket. Next is inorganic part. The inorganic constituent of the urine are what? They are the chlorides of sodium, potassium. Potassium and sodium chlorides means separate salts are there. NaCl is sodium chloride. NaCl. This is what? This is sodium chloride. Second is potassium chloride. It is called as KCl. K stands for potassium, Cl stands for chloride, potassium chloride. So chloride of sodium and potassium are inorganic constituent of the urine. Next is sulfuric acid or ammonia may also be there. So these are the different substances. They have been summed up in this table. You can see here organic ones, urea, uric acid, creatinine, and some others are also there. Next, inorganic ones you see here. Among the inorganic ones, sodium chloride, ammonia, then potassium chloride and sulfuric acid. Among others, some more are there that is not required. So these names you will have to learn. What are the constituent among the organic ones, among the inorganic ones. All these names you will have to learn. Next, there are certain abnormal constituents also. Sometimes extra sugar may be there. What is the disease that indicates? It indicates diabetes or sugar is there. The person is diabetic means he will produce extra sugar in the urine. So if urine test is performed and sugar is found there, it indicates the person suffering from diabetes. Next is jaundice and glucosuria. These diseases also have excess urine in the excess sugar in the urine of that person. Next is bile pigment. These are present in the urine if the person suffers from jaundice. Next one is blood cells may be produced in the urine if kidney is not working properly. Then kidney damage is indicated by the blood cells in the urine. Next, followed by this kidney infection, if it takes place, bacterial infection is there, then pus cells will produce urine. Last one is excess water. If more water is being present in the urine, it indicates diabetes insipidus. So these are certain diseases possible if the abnormal constituents, these constituents abnormally are found in the concentration of the urine. Now we will move to the next part, that is osmoregulation. We have seen the main function of kidney is what? Main function of kidney is called as excretion. So other than excretion, what else kidney will do? So answer is kidney is osmoregulatory in nature. Osmoregulatory means it maintains a steady concentration of the blood that flows through them. Always the blood will have a normal concentration. If it changes, the person will not feel well. He may also suffer from many problems. So normal concentration is being maintained, normal concentration of water is being maintained in the blood through the method of osmoregulation. So if the blood is very dilute, if more water is there, then what will happen? Less water is reabsorbed, leaving more to enter the bladder and pass in the urine. So if the person's blood is very dilute, already blood is having a lot of water, in that case, whatever water you drink, it will not be fully absorbed. It will be passed out again into the urine. Next step, if there is shortage of water in the body, then due to the profuse sweating, then a small amount or small volume of the concentrated urine is produced. This is happening in the case of the shortage of the water in the body due to sweating. So all these processes are called as osmoregulation. The definition will read: these steady processes maintain the level of water, mineral salts in the blood, and together they are called as osmoregulation. In our brain, in our body, in the human beings, what is controlling? Which part is controlling this? So in human beings, the part of the brain that are called as hypothalamus, it is responsible for osmoregulation, for controlling the quantity of water. Hypothalamus in the brain will decide we have to drink water or not according to the surroundings. So this is the definition you will have to mark and learn: a process by which the amount of water, minerals and salt of the blood inside the body of living organism is maintained. So if this amount of water and minerals is maintained, then it is called as osmoregulation. Now what is the importance? Why why the blood is having normal amount of water? Why the body always tries to maintain this water quantity or mineral quantity in the body? Answer we will find here: importance of osmoregulation. So osmoregulation is very, very important because changes in blood and tissue fluid can have great effect in the body cells. If there is more water, water moves into the cell by osmosis and cause them to swell. Here spelling error is there, case is written. You can correct it and write cause them to swell and even burst. So that is in the case of the more water is there in the body. If there is less water, then water will move out of the cells, causing them to shrink. Therefore, in both the cases, normal functioning of the body will be hampered. So osmoregulation is very, very important. This maintenance of the level of water or amount of water and minerals and salt in the body, it should be constant. So if it is more or even if it is less, both the cases are harmful for the body. We will see some of the diseases now, common disorders of the urinary system. In case of the malfunctioning or improper functioning of the urinary system, several disorder or diseases may happen. Some common ones are UTI and the kidney stones. UTI full form is called as urinary tract infection. So let us see first of all urinary tract infection. It is caused when the bacteria enters into the bladder or kidney, ureters and the urethra. So all of these body parts, if they are affected by the infection of the bacteria, it is indicating UTI, urinary tract infection. It is very common infection in case of children, and also the people of elder ages are prone to this. Irrespective of the age, also sometimes people of all ages by the UTI. Symptoms: what are the symptoms? What are the problem face? First is burning sensation or stinging sensation is there while urinating. While the person is urinating, he will not feel he will not feel normal. That person will have burning sensation. Next is increased urge or more frequent need to urinate. Person will feel like he or she needs to move to urinate to the washroom is required again and again after a short period of time. Next is fever, vomiting and feeling of nausea and discomfort. So these are also certain problems. Next one is waking up at night a lot to go to the bathroom. So here again the person is not able to maintain that body the quantity of water in the body, and that is why what is happening is right before you. Next now, waking up at night and a lot to go to the bathroom. Next will be belly pain in the area of the bladder, that is below the lower abdomen. Foul smelling urine is produced that may look cloudy or contain blood also. So these are certain of the points about the importance about the symptoms of the urinary tract infection that we have seen. In case the infection spreads up from the ureter to kidney, then it is more serious and even permanent failure of kidney can be caused. Apart from the UTI, urinary tract infection, you will see it next one, that is the kidney stones. So kidney stones are what? They are not a stone actually, they are small masses of what? Of salt and minerals. So different salt and different minerals masses, or the proper quantity is there, that will do what? That accumulate inside the kidney. They are present in the kidney and may travel down with the urinary tract. So these kidney stone will range from one small peck of dust, or it can be even bigger than a tennis ball. So it varies from person to person. That size of kidney stone is not fixed. What are the symptoms now? So first symptom, and the important symptom, is blood in the urine. That is first symptom of the kidney stone. Second one is the pain in the abdomen. Person is not is not feeling comfortable. It is not easy to sit with the kidney stone. So that is why there is pain in the abdomen. Different surgical techniques may be used which do not pass the ureter to the bladder on their own. So that is all about the kidney stone. We will see the last topic, that is excretory product and waste product. What is the difference here? Excretory products are also waste only, but they are those which are excreted by the kidney. If the kidney excrete or remove something from the body, it is excretory product, and these which are coming from the kidney, that is excretory, are always nitrogenous waste product. Like urea is there, uric acid is there, ammonia is there. It is present in the waste products of our body. Next, now waste product of our body will include the material which is thrown out of the body and it is no more required. Other products, excretory ones, we can reuse in some other purpose, but the waste product are not at all uses for any other purpose. Here what is else is written is CO2, carbon dioxide, is a waste product and it is exhaled out by the lungs. Undigested food is also a waste matter and is thrown out by rectum. Excess water and minerals are also thrown out with the urine. So this is all about this chapter. We have completed it. Next will be exercise, that we will have a separate video on that. That is all for this chapter. Thank you for now.